cause I am a Jamaican. Now everywhere in this world I go. Yeah, yard man. Yeah, yard man, don't respect. I want to hear. I respect and love man to all Jamaica, no matter where in the world. One eye, like I own you. No matter where in this world I go, I am a Jamaican. No birthday pass I have to show, cause I am a Jamaican. No matter where in this world I go, I am a Jamaican. No birthday pass I have to show, cause I am a Jamaican. I have Jamaican walk, them here Jamaican talk, cause I am a Jamaican. Them here Jamaican chat, them say Jamaican bop, cause I am a Jamaican.
Yeah, we're getting set.
Now everywhere in this world I go, I am a Jamaican. I know I will have to show, cause I am a Jamaican.
And as everybody joins, yeah.
Them say, Lord, what a boy can run, that is a Jamaican. When they see the Rasta man,
watch what I go on, you know, we have to start with a Buju Banton, right?
Dress maker, baker, tailor, shoemaker, market, woman in a donkey cart, rivers and streams, fountains and mountains. In a Jamaica, we have it all.
And if you're joining the show, of course, I'm asking you to give me a thumbs up, give me a heart, give me something that indicates that you can hear the audio loud and clear.
Cause I am a Jamaican. When you hear that music I play out the door, it must be Jamaican. When you smell the food I cook when the breeze blow, got to be Jamaican. Hey, beautiful smile, God-fearing people.
Hey, what Lil? Greetings, happy Friday. You know, we didn't have the festival competition in Jamaica this year, the sound of Buju Banton.
That's your soul, loving and kind. Oh, come down, sweet Jamaica.
Yes, Glenn, big up.
I am a Jamaican. No, I'm a need to show, cause I am a Jamaican. Oh, them people, they laugh so much, got to be Jamaican. They have overcome struggles and been through so much, got to be Jamaican.
Hey, Margaret, greetings, thanks for joining. Yeah. Dependent, big up.
Resilient and brave, industrious, it's the art Jamaican. No matter anywhere in this world I go, I am a Jamaican.
All right.
No ID, I'm an Afro. I am a Jamaican. Them say, Lord, what a boy can run, must be a Jamaican. When they make the reggae music from Jamaica, got to be Jamaican.
All right. Give Buju a little extended play today, you know? All right. I'll pause for the Buju Banton. Greetings. Welcome to Watagwan. My name is Donovan Simon. I'm the president of the Jamaican Canadian Association, Alberta. I'm based in Calgary. And Watagwan is our way of connecting to the community, sharing issues that are happening within our association, within our community in Canada, in Jamaica, all over the world. This evening, we're going to talk about Black identity and a youth perspective. And I have some great panelists sitting in the waiting room ready to come unleash their wisdom and their experience with us. But before we get into that discussion, we have to do some features that are a part of Watagwan. So we start with something called the Patois phrase of the day. because patois is this beautiful language that Jamaicans love to talk. It's, you know, it's a cool little thing. And I was preparing for the program and I came up with this one, Jim Screechy. If you're a Jamaican and you know what Jim Screechy mean, put it in the comments so that those who don't understand the Jamaican patois will get a chance to learn it. If we were in Jamaica and we were using Jim Screechy in a sentence, we would say something like, every day Jim Screechy go around there. So the patois word of the day or the phrase of the day is Jim Screechy. And if you know what it means, put it in the comments, please. Events, some things that are coming up that I want you to be aware of. August 1st, so tomorrow, we're going to have another episode of Jamaican Viewpoint. This is our town hall style meeting where we share perspectives. We're going to focus on Jamaica's independence, and our host, Vice President David Pennant, is going to talk to a couple of people, do a couple of activities as we recognize Emancipation Day and Jamaica's independence, which is coming up in a little bit. Okay. On April 6 to 8, we're going to have something called the Virtual Jamaican Independence Celebration. All across Canada, Jamaicans are going to be celebrating Jamaica's 58th year of political independence. And later in the show, I have two guests that are going to come on and talk about some of what we're doing. But keep those dates in mind, August 6 to 8, Virtual Jamaican Independence Celebration. I want to call out August 7th, though, because we're going to do a double dose of Wataguan on that day. Wataguan is going national as part of the Jamaican celebration, the Virtual Jamaican Independence Celebration. So we're going to have a special episode of Wataguan starting at 4:30 p.m. Mountain Time. So that is 6:30 p.m. in Toronto, and that is 5:30 p.m. in Jamaica. And if you're in England, I don't know what time that is, but we're going to do a special edition of Wataguan National. And then later in the evening, we're going to go back to our standard 7 o'clock time for Wataguan. We're going to talk to an artist, a Black artist here in Calgary, who has done some phenomenal work, right? And I'll talk about that a little bit later on. Another thing that is coming up that we want you to be aware of on August 15th is Virtual Carry Fest. So this year we won't be able to have the festivals outdoor because, you know, we're limited to 200 people only, but we're going to have Virtual Carry Fest. So listen out, check the website, check Carry Fest Facebook page and other places, because Carry Fest is going virtual. So is Caribana, so is Carry West. And you'll hear more about these over the next couple of days. So remember, tomorrow, Jamaican Viewpoint, August 6 to 8, Virtual Jamaican Independence Celebration. August 7th, we're going to do a double up of Wataguan. So we're going to go Wataguan National, and then we'll come back Wataguan Local. And August 15th, we're going to do Carry Fest Virtual, first ever, right here in Calgary. So, time to get into the show. And for those who join late, the patois word of the day is, our phrase is Jim Screechy. Let's see who knows what Jim Screechy means. All right, today we're going to talk to some young people about Black identity, a youth view. I'm going to bring them on screen because I tell you, I'm really excited about this conversation. Who do we have here? We've got Danielle, we've got Kelly, we've got Makiba. And I can unmute now so we can say greetings.
Hi.
Hello, ladies. How are you guys doing?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
I am great. All right, so we have a range of different things that we want to talk about. Makiba, I'm going to start with you because I want to introduce you to all of the Wataguan viewers and followers. Makiba Foster is the Canadian regional representative of the Global Jamaica Diaspora Youth Council. So the Global Jamaica Diaspora Youth Council, there's another council that is not the Youth Council, which is, you can call it the Adult Council. Right, but Makiba is the Youth Council regional leader, right? We have Danielle. I think a lot of you know Danielle hosted one of the original versions of Wataguan. And we've got Kelly. Yeah, greetings. All right, so we're going to talk about Black identity. And Makiba, maybe I'm going to start with you. Let's talk a little bit about the Jamaica Global Diaspora Youth Council, what it is about, and how you identify and wanted to be a part of that?
So I was invited to be a part of it. So one of my girlfriends I grew up with in Toronto actually went to Jamaica for a year to go work. And then she told me about the initiative because she was introduced to it in Jamaica. So she kind of explained, hey, there's a bunch of young Jamaicans from all over the world getting together. This is a great thing. You're in Calgary. We're looking for a union rep out there. And it seems like you've been in social work for a long time. Go for it. So when I initially signed on to it, I didn't know what I was getting into. You know, like my parents were born in Jamaica, but they came up when they were in their preteens. So I've been to Jamaica maybe 5 or 6 times myself. So a lot of my Jamaican identity comes from like my Toronto Jamaican identity. So I definitely, for me, I wanted to invest more and find out more about the culture. Because my daughter goes to Jamaica every year since she was born. She's 10 now for the summer. So she's very enriched in the culture because her dad was born in Jamaica and then came to Canada. So he knows a lot of it because that's where his early development stages were, right?
Right.
So I didn't get that same grassroots type of connection to Jamaica. So it was great to be in a vessel where I could connect on that deeper level.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I kind of joined it, and I love it actually. There's a bunch of second and thirds all over. We extend from Canada all the way to like North Africa, East Africa, South Africa, China. Anywhere you can think of is where we're at. So I loved hearing everyone's stories.
Awesome.
It's a great place to be at.
So let's extend that discussion. And Kelly, I'm going to bring you in. Let's talk about identifying as Black. So tell me some of your experiences, and is this a conscious thing for you to identify as Black?
As a Black youth, I identify myself as African because I grew up there. That's where I grew up.
Yeah.
And I became self-conscious about being Black when I moved over to Canada.
Yeah.
Because in Canada, everyone was Black, so it wasn't really something to be self-conscious about because everyone it wasn't as diverse as it is here. So when I moved here, it became more conscious because I was the only Black person in my class, which was very strange to me. And it was very different because we all had a different point of view on how racism affected us.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, identifying myself as Black, I would say I identify myself as African. So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Danielle, let's swing to you. I mean, how do you identify as being Black? And is this a conscious thing? And what are some of the things you have experienced as a Black youth here in Canada?
Well, I mean, I switch between identifying as Jamaican because, you know, that's my heritage. That's what I grew up with both of my parents. But I also go with Black. It interchanges depending on situation. Some things I've experienced, it's a lot of, there's 50-50. There's always some great things. It's like, hey, you have this point of view that not everyone else has of being a Jamaican youth who grew up in Canada her whole life, but her parents bring her back to Jamaica every once in a while. And so you get diverse in both of these communities. But there's some negatives. There's like the little microaggressions, the little things in life where it's like, oh, dang it, if I wasn't myself, this would be different. But I like being myself. I don't imagine it any other way. So I love being Black. I love being Jamaican. It's me. Yeah.
So recently, there's a lot of activity in Calgary, all over the world, as it relates to Black Lives Matter. And, you know, this is open to anybody. Were you involved in any of the activities? I mean, there were vigils and marches and different things. Were you involved in any of them? And if you were, what were some of the takeaways for you? Whoever wants to take this first.
I'll take it first. So I went to a protest and a vigil, social distanced, that's important. So I went to them thinking, well, this is something that is really important to me, that this is a message that needs to be spread. And I went and I was just so enlightened with just information and sayings from all the speakers and all the people around me, because there was such a diverse group of people who were walking alongside me and people that I met that had stories that I could not imagine, good or bad. But it's crazy how people have such different walks of life and we can connect with this one movement that means so much to me. And it was crazy just looking at a crowd at like 5,000 people. I'm pretty sure it was 5,000. I might be wrong, but it's just looking back and being like, wow, these people support something that means so much to me. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah. What about you, Makiba?
I didn't take part of any of the Black Lives Matter current initiatives, but I want to say that the Black Lives Matter movement has been going on underground for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
There has been many people that I've worked with in back in when I lived in Ontario who have been working to bring light to these initiatives. So I would like to highlight George Brown College back in like 2012 when I was going there, had an initiative to try to retain the amount of Black students because they felt that the students were coming and then they were dropping out. So there's been like underground rumblings of the injustices that are now on the forefront. A lot of people for many years, social workers and social activists have been working in these communities, doing the work on the floor to try to change some of these policies, to try to mediate what's going on. So I didn't take part in any of these protests, but it's good to see that the social enlightenment, more people are socially enlightened, because there's been a lot of social workers, such as myself and others, who have been trying to work on these policies and bring light to kind of these injustices for the last 10 or, well, before my time, but like for the past 30, I'm only 30, but for the, whoops, for like before me, but there's, so I like to say like this Black Lives Matter is just a lot of people being enlightened at one time, but there's been a lot of policies and procedures, and even Taibu was the first all-Black medical center in Malvern. So I mean, G98.7 FM is the first Black-owned radio station in Toronto, and Mr. G, rest in peace, he used to have a grapevine on Sunday that was bringing social awareness to the community. I remember when I worked at G, they hosted a conversation with Mr. G, the Toronto Police Service, and the Black Lawyers Group. So there's been conversation and things like this of this nature been going on for a long time. So for me, it was nice to watch all these protests and stuff on TV, because it's like, yeah, we've been kind of doing this for a long time, and we didn't have so much engagement. So now it's nice that we have all this engagement. So I hope we can take all this protest and all these memes and stuff and like start putting our energy into the social activist stuff that were actually going on before, that were already on the ground. So let's start reaching out to these agencies that have been trying to do the good work for so long and giving them more of that support now that you're more aware. So now it's just not a bunch of people blowing the whistles, and we've already started doing the groundwork. So now it's time for you guys to help us push us to the next level. Okay. So I enjoyed seeing all of the protests, but I look forward to seeing more of the support to people who've been doing the work for a long time to try to push these initiatives forward. Okay. So I like seeing it, but I look forward to seeing what resonates and what sticks after.
So let's talk solutions. Kelly, were you involved in any of the activities?
Yes, I went to a protest, yeah. And what I learned was that it wasn't just something that affected just Black people, because I found a lot of people from different races supporting it. And for me, it felt good because it's very hard to see like unity in like different groups, because it's very easy to see a group of Black people, another group of people of the same type, I guess, people that think the same way. And it was nice seeing a lot of people that didn't have the same point of view, the same way of thinking together, marching for one cause. Right. Yeah. And I met people with different experiences, with different ages, like they were kids, they were adults. And yeah, that was very interesting to me. And yeah.
Well, that's interesting, because I came down to Olympic Plaza to the vigil, and what was interesting for me was the wide cross section of people out there supporting the issue. So Black Lives Matter and the issue of inequality and racism and all the rest of it was, in my opinion, a community issue, right? As opposed to just a Black people issue. But we look at the question of solutions. I mean, Kiba, you brought this up, but I'm going to jump to Daniel. What are some of the things that you think the youth can contribute to the solutions that are required around equality and social justice, and the things that will make you feel negative about being a Black youth?
Yeah, well, one thing I know for a fact that is if you have a social media, there are resources that you can share for people to spread the message even further. Because if one person knows five people know five people, you know what I'm saying? So that's like at the comfort of your own home. But especially with the city of Calgary starting their, what do you call it? Their racial, oh my goodness, I've lost the name, but they have brought people to the city council and they talk to them about what's happening and what they can do to fix it. But youth don't get that opportunity very often, but we're going to be the ones in 10 years, 20 years, we're going to be the ones stuck and we're going to have to do it all over again. So if they give us a youth perspective and they give us a chance to talk about what we need and what we would like to see, I think that could make everywhere better. So I think just giving youth the opportunities to speak about the things that they need, that they want to see, allowing Black youth to have their councils, have their meetings, have their organizations to do the things that they need to do to spread the message that they need to spread. Yeah.
Maybe this is where Danielle and because I'm going to put a plug in to say, well, you've been selected to be on the Education Minister's Youth Council for Alberta for 2020-2021, right? So there's a platform which allows you to add your voice to some of these potential solutions. Right, Kelly, what's your thought? What do you think the youth can do to contribute to some of these solutions that are needed?
I think spreading the message and educating our peers, because usually as like teens or youth, we learn from our parents. And usually we learn from our parents for such a long time that we don't realize it, but we can't think any differently. So us educating our peers helps our future, because the youth are the future, right? For the future generation.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like educating should be the biggest point.
Right. Makiba, what do you think? I mean, you're in a major role as I'm going to call it an advisor to the Jamaican government from a youth perspective, right? And the issue affects us everywhere. So what do you think are some of the things that we can contribute, or you can contribute as a youth to the solutions?
I agree with Kelly. I agree with being able to teach your peers, because that's essentially in Canada, because our population is so small, a lot of our fighting chances comes with the help of allies. So the more allies you have, the better your initiative will be. And like Danielle and Kelly said, when they were at their vigils, they saw that it wasn't just an equality issue that resonated with people of color, but it was with all minority groups. So I would say figuring out a way to mobilize your allies, friends. So if you feel there's an injustice, speak on it. For me, I do what I can do on a micro level. So if I'm in a workspace and I feel like there's an injustice there, I make sure I call it out. So I make sure I speak professionally, but I call it out. Even if there's nothing done at that specific moment, I just make sure I do my own documentation, because if you're reaching out to HR and HR is not doing something about it, there's someone above HR you can go to. But I would advise that if you're going to go into any situation and present yourself as being oppressed or feeling unequal, just make sure that you have your notes and you have your records, because that's what you need to fight with. So I find when I'm in these professional settings, what we're fighting with is numbers and stats. So I could say going forward, if you can make yourself visible, so if you can vote, put yourself on surveys, reach out to local non-for-profit organizations that are grassroots that usually do stuff on the community level, and maybe bring awareness to your cause, even if it's just an idea, because a lot of these organizations would run with it, because a lot of these organizations are given funding to best reach the vulnerable population, but because they haven't spoken into anybody, because there's not a lot of representation or lack of access to resources or information, then we're not being counted. So I would say be loud and proud and try to make yourself as seen as possible. If that's voting, if that's reaching out to your local government, if that's reaching out to your local grassroots, if that's feeling inequality in the workplace and speaking out about it, I would just say make yourself known and documented. So when social workers or someone in the political field goes in to try to change these things on a macro level, we have the numbers and stats to back that up. So we can say that we need investment in this community because we feel there's a lot of Jamaican Canadians coming from this and going into this community, and these are their struggles. Well, if there's no documentation, then that's like, how do you know that? So it's kind of like my word versus yours, where we say, well, there's 50% of Jamaicans are accessing service here, or they're having to travel so far kilometers out of their normal range to go here, and these are the numbers there, then they can be like, okay, well, it's hard to fight numbers. So my goal to the community is try to be loud and proud and seen, as we usually are. And, like we are. So let's
I was going to say, boy, black people know how to be loud.
Right? So let's use that loudness. Let's put that loudness in the right direction. Like, let's not bring it up, and let's bring it right, left, where we need it. Because, like you say, we have the strength of doing something and having others follow. And that's kind of the fear, right?
Yeah.
Don't let this powerful group lead, because there tends to be a mass following behind it all the time, right? So,
okay, we're running up against the clock, and there's one more thing I want to kind of get out of all of you. What are some of the things that you enjoy about your heritage and your culture, and make you feel really proud? Let's start with Kelly. Some of the things that really make you proud of your heritage and your culture.
For me, I would say, first of all, food, because and I would also think of, I don't know how I can explain this, but just being Black makes me see the world in a different way. I don't think I would see the world the way I see it right now if I was from a different race. Yeah, I also love the discipline we have, because I grew up in a place where discipline was huge for me. And I realized that there isn't really, I'm not saying this against any other race, but there isn't as much discipline as in my race, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Danielle.
I'm going to have to agree with Kelly. Food is so good. Cocoa bread? Wow, fantastic. A ting? Fantastic. But I also like, Jamaicans have such a sense of unity and togetherness. I mean, if you were to go to, I don't know, let's say Taste of Jamaica, you can feel so included, even if you aren't Jamaican, but even just walking into an event like that, where there are so many people surrounded with love, and all they want to do is pour their heart out into this thing that they've created. It feels so nice, and I love it very much. So, yeah.
All right, listen, we could keep going on, but there's some other people that have to come on to the show. Kelly, Makiba, Danielle, thank you so much for joining and sharing your perspectives on being Black and Black identity. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Was awesome.
Thank you for having me.
All right, take care.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, I tell you, good hearing the youngsters. We've got some stuff that's going on over the next couple of days. We talk about the virtual Jamaican celebration of independence. So Jamaica celebrates 58 years of political independence, and a group across Canada has been working to make this happen. So I'm going to bring a couple of people on to talk about what is being done, who is doing what, and why we should all jump into this. Michelle.
Yes,
Michelle Mackenzie Dolly from the JC Ontario is one of the persons on that committee. Michael Smith, let me see if Michael is here. Michael, you have to unmute and turn on your camera and a few other things.
Oh, all of that too.
Yeah, man, all of that.
I'm used to doing this on my phone, not on my phone, but start videos.
People have to see you, brother.
How you doing?
Michelle, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking.
All right, so we are doing a virtual celebration of Jamaica's 58th year of independence here in Canada. Help the viewers understand what this is all about.
So this is truly a year for the history books. We're going to be telling many generations what happened in 2020. And as true Jamaicans, under the theme resilient and strong, there is no way Jamaicans are not going to fight COVID-19 and keep our independence celebration. Something have to go on. So we came to the realization that the galas and the things that we usually have will not happen this year out of respect for what's happening with the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And so a group of us came together. It was really started out of Ottawa, where Elaine Hills reached out and said, you know what, would you like us to connect? Because remember, we just had the telethon recently.
Right.
And so everybody got that virtual spirit and the cross Canada connection spirit. So Elaine reached out, and of course, you know, JCA Toronto, we ready long time. And so President Adoma called and I was back on the horse. So that's what brought us here. And so it's 9 of us this time. It's even more because we have Nova Scotia, we have Montreal with the foundation and the association. We have Ottawa. We have Windsor. We have Manitoba. We have you, right? Calgary. And we have British Columbia. So
Vancouver, coast to coast.
When we said coast to coast, no, we're dead serious, you know, man. It's hard if I'm talking about the Vancouver, you know. We're not taking a check.
No,
the Jamaican spirit will. No, COVID office. Sit down at Independence time.
Yes, sir.
So, talk to us about the energy behind this. Why is this important for us as Jamaicans here in Canada? And maybe also go into a little bit of detail. I'm going to share some stuff on screen while you speak about, what the activities are going to look like.
Well, I think, first of all, this effort shows the ingenuity of Jamaicans once again. Just the simple fact that we were able to come together again and put this, as we say, in Montreal, we say left coast, right coast, not east and west, right? to get together and for everybody to chip in their expertise and their contacts and all of that in order for this to take place. And for us, I think as a proud nation, people from Jamaica, it's important for us to be able to express ourselves and show our place here in Canada, as we have a very strong presence in Canada among the Caribbean nations here in Canada. And so I think it's very important that we continue to celebrate our presence here and celebrate the independence of Jamaica and Jamaicans. So this initiative keeps that alive, given our current situation of the pandemic that's going on worldwide.
Yeah, so let's jump into the details of some of the activities. So we start August 6th.
Mm-hmm. August 6th, we have our opening ceremony. So I'm going to give some times, and the times are all Eastern times. So between August 6th, we have the opening ceremonies starting at 4 p.m. Eastern, going up to about 6:30 p.m. With several addresses from organizations involved, some ministers, some messages from Jamaica, as well as dignitaries and politicians here in Canada. And then a celebration of the festival songs throughout the years, including this year's winning festival song, courtesy of Mr. Buju Banton. So we have quite a few things going on for that first day.
Yeah, August 7th. It's a cultural thing.
You want to take that, Michelle, or you want me to keep going?
Doesn't matter. You want to keep going?
I'm working off of memory.
Saturday's really yours.
Yes, so I'll let you do Friday.
All right. So Friday, we're starting off with Jamaica's Open for Business, because we want to have the conversation around how the diaspora can invest in the Jamaican economy. We know things hard for us too, but there are ways we can support the economy. And so for that, we're going to have the Tourist Board, Jamaica Tourist Board. We'll have Jane Bank, Jamaica National Bank, and JAMPRO, Jamaica Promotions Corp. And then, surprise, a special edition of What a Guan. Donovan is going to jump in there and do a special edition. Thank you so much, Donovan, to talk to the councillors, right? Because we know they're here, and sometimes people say, what them for?
Yeah.
So we'll have so Nicole Johnson will join us to tell us why do we have this consulate office in Toronto, and how do they serve the community? And then we'll have Jamaica Diaspora Group to come in and talk a little bit about what they do to support us. So we'll have Kishane Denton coming in and Yvette Blackburn coming to speak about that. And then right after, we'll talk about PACO, the Pan-African Credit Union, because we know what have won at Canada, and that is an important thing. So we can't leave out David, Betty. No, shout out to JC, a treasurer. We can't leave out David, Betty, and that, because he's doing a lot of work around that. So after we finish the hardcore thing, then we're going to celebrate Jimmy Cliff and all the work that he has done with the movie Harder They Come. And so we're going to do a tribute to him, and then we're going to do a full tribute to the elders. So Martha Griffiths, you know, we're talking about Bob Marley, real hardcore. And you know, Jamaicans, we love laugh. So we're going to end off the night with a comedy thing, because we have to laugh. When hard life take us, we just laugh and say, you know, Jamaica, no problem, we'll laugh. And
well,
so
when people drop and hurt themselves, we laugh. I mean, I'm not saying it's a right thing or a good thing.
No,
to laugh
honestly,
first.
we laugh first, and then we say, nothing happened to you, man, you all right?
Oh,
so we have to laugh. Hush, but we did have to laugh. So then we're gonna end the night with some good laughs.
And then Saturday we have another full day of stuff.
Yeah,
full day. Definitely.
Full day. The first thing we're going to write, Michael, is run a boat. And the message, and the conversation came up. What do you mean run a boat? And somebody said, a boat? We said, yeah, cook some food. So we're gonna do run a boat, and Grace Kennedy is our sponsors for that segment. So as we go, we have to shout out the sponsors, you know. We want to do a big shout out to Grace Kennedy for coming on board.
So for that, we'll be going, I guess, across the Canada to different locations, restaurants within the different cities. And they'll be preparing some traditional meals from ackee and saltfish to oxtail to whatever it is as we go through, you know, lunch, dinner, back. Like that. Well, we don't know about chicken back. Easy to find
anything you put Grace product and you know tastes good.
Yeah, so jerks up chicken back, Michael.
Ketchup down in the chicken back, it's sweet.
Well, you know something though, I'm vegan, so I don't eat the chicken back again. But I will tell you, hopefully one of the restaurants will do something vegan. But I make my own vegan stew peas. I curry some jackfruit. I can make almost anything that I used to eat vegan, so it's all good. But we have everything out there. Everything.
We have a kids thing I go on too, right?
Yes.
Oh yes, and surprise, what people don't know yet is that playwright Marcia Brown jumped on, and Marcia is gonna come and host the kids section. And let me tell you, I got a sneak preview in that, and I was a kid all over again. So it's gonna be wonderful. It's going to be interactive. You know, children can come out, they can ask questions. Their questions will pop up on the screen. Marcia and Nikki, so Nicole Coley is going to work with Marcia on that. And it promises to be just so much fun. So much fun.
All right. How do people get on? Where's the streaming going to happen? Let's get some information so that everybody watching know where to find it come Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Michael?
Sure. So the simplest way is to check out the jcccgroup.ca website. That's 3 C's. And then right as you get on that page, that website, the feed will be there, so they can catch everything that's happening. They'll be able to interact with the feed itself, so they can pose questions of either the host and whoever, and they can watch everything all at that one spot. And so the schedule is there, the live feeds are there, and they'll be able to see everything in just one spot. And then I do believe on Facebook and other places it will also be shown, but the main website is the jcccgroup.ca.
If you're not sure, it's Jamaican Canadians coast to
coast. So JCCC, so jcccgroup.ca, right? Yeah. And a couple of us will be finding ways to stream it on Facebook or parts thereof. Yeah. So make sure people jump on. Guys, I think it's a fun.
Yes, I want to say before we go, just allow me a minute to shout out the other sponsors, because I did mention Grace. And I have to shout out my sponsors. So Nuts Spread Express out of Montego Bay, Jamaica. When you reach the airport, and even anywhere you want to go across the island, Nuts Spread will take you there. We mentioned Grace Kennedy, Toronto. World Financial Group, Daniel O'Donnell out of Ottawa. Caribbean Foods out of Calgary. And CMJ Entertainment. We could not have done this without Charles Matthews Jr. And so we just want to big up all those major sponsors. We have more, but we just want to shout out the major ones tonight.
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
Just one last thing, if I can.
Yes, Michael.
Just to let people know that in the later part of the evening at 7 p.m., we'll be doing, it's called a Big People Time. So there'll be live performances from artists across Canada, Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, and so forth. And then that's going to be followed by a party time showcasing all the different genres of music, starting with some gospel. Then we're going to ska and mento, rocksteady, lovers rock, dancehall, 80s to 90s, and then dancehall 2000 and forward. So it's a party night as well on Saturday.
Pure vibes.
Yeah, and a special treat from Halifax too. Remember, we're going to do the tour of the museum.
Tour of the museum, yes.
Yes, the National Immigration Museum. They have something on the Maroons, and you know that's where the history of Jamaicans in Canada all started, right?
Yeah.
So big things, man. Big things.
This is exciting. This is exciting. So we've got associations from Nova Scotia, Ottawa, Hamilton,
Montreal,
Calgary, Winnipeg, Vancouver.
Windsor,
people from Jamaica, Windsor, everywhere joining to make this happen. Yeah. And people, please jump on the stream, add some comments, provide some feedback. It's on Facebook. You know, we're going to stream it everywhere so that Jamaicans can be loud and proud as we celebrate.
Yeah,
Michael,
man,
Michelle.
Trying to make this miss you. Yeah, have to log on, man.
Yes, log on.
Log on, find this.
Anyway, guys, thanks for joining. I appreciate it, and for all the hard work to make this all happen. All right, take care, and I'll talk to you guys.
Thank you so much.
Of course, before we wrap up with Watagon, I know today was a little extended. What's next on the show? Next week, like I said, on the 7th, we're going to double up. We're going to have a special national version of Watagon, starting at 4:30 Mountain Time, 6:30 Calgary time, 5:30 Jamaica time. Like I said earlier, I don't know what time it is in London, but if you're in London, join on and watch the thing, right? Tomorrow, August 1st, Jamaican Viewpoint, David will talk about Jamaica's independence and a number of other things. You don't want to miss it because we have some local updates that I think will be very interesting for you. And next week, we're also going to talk to Sydney Warren about her art and passion and how she got into doing the mural at Deerfoot City, the block. So if you have been to Deerfoot City or in Calgary and you see the artwork, a Black person was involved in that project. On the 14th, we're going to talk about culture, festivals, and community. We're going to have Leo, Jen, and Anne on the show. The 21st, we're going to talk about connecting as a community. Uzo is going to talk about how are we going to build connections around the businesses. And on the 28th, so I'm telling you all that we're doing for August, we're going to have Dr. Unati coming on to talk about men's health and primarily about Black men and some of the issues that we need to talk about, we need to address around the health of our men. Whole heap of things lined up around Watagon over the next couple of weeks. As always, a pleasure having you on the show. Like our Facebook page, check out our website, check out our Instagram feed, right? We're always looking to get comments and feedback. So anything you can do. Sheila, yeah, thanks. See a couple of people putting some comments in here. That's great. Until next week, right? Take care, stay safe. In Calgary, you have to wear your mask all the time now as of August 1st. So make sure you buy some masks and make sure you get some of the free ones and wear your mask and stay safe. It's hot, but stay cool. Until next time, take care. Leave you with Buju Banton.
I am a Jamaican. No matter where in this world I go, I am a Jamaican. No first papers I have to show, cause I am a Jamaican. I have Jamaican walk, them here Jamaican talk, cause I am a Jamaican. Them here Jamaican chat, them say Jamaican.